the main event. I'm Stephen McCollum, and I have this sneezing fit going on, and it's not even funny. Woo! Started right at the end of there, McCollum on business, and dealing with something. I don't know what's happened. I'm just so happy to be here today. It's affecting me. Hey, it's Wednesday. 17-year NFL veteran Del Hellestrae. Well, he's off another day. He returns today from Palm Springs. Been following his exploits there. 1980, the class of 1980 annual get-together. They go on a golfing trip, Palm Springs, and everything. He'll be back tomorrow for his normal Thursday. Come in for a little bit. Hopefully he comes back healthy enough to do that. Of course, tomorrow also Uncle Lou coming up here at 9 o'clock hour. It'll be fun to join him as well. But I got you here for this show. Now, programming note. Been telling you all week. We're only going to be here for about an hour today. We're going to have to cut this show a little bit short. Well, I thought it was important I come in. Not important, but I just thought I should come in this morning. Wanted to come in this morning, do the McCollum on business, do the main event. But I got to get across town here. I got a 10:30. I got to be there about 10:15 for some pre-stuff. But, of course, Ethan, you guys know Ethan. He comes in here, works, etc. Well, he's graduating here in about a month, and he's got some ROTC. It's the end of the year award ceremony for ROTC over there at Queen Creek High School. So I'll be having to attend that, and I've got to get back across town, my parents, etc., with that stuff. So we'll be here till about 9 o'clock. I promise you at least an hour here this morning. And we'll, get everything packed in and then come back tomorrow as well. So I appreciate you joining us. Like I said, I feel weird announcing it's an hour because I feel like I'm doing some, I'm bragging that I'm here for an hour. Like, that's just ridiculous. I'm not doing that. I wanted to come in. It's exciting to come in and not cut it short at all. So I appreciate you guys joining us. Don't forget, live right now, you can text us 623-252-6670. You can even text us anytime you're catching us, whether live or on demand, either on Robat TV, the YouTube channel, TME Media AZ. Whether you're listening to us on your favorite podcast system later on today as well, you can text us anytime at 623-252-6670. You can hit us up on X as well at TME Sports Show. And we're doing a lot of testing here, and we ran into some issues yesterday with our testing, but we are testing some stuff on the YouTube page, TME Media AZ, so you're going to want to follow that as well. We're also on Rumble, rumble.com/user/TME Media. Well, that's where we have the Real Matrix show, right, with the Angry Patriot. He loves that you guys are supporting his program. Can't thank you enough out there. That comes out on Fridays, right, on Rumble. So we just put all of our programming on Rumble as well, and a lot of success over there with no advertising other than just here as well. So appreciate you guys joining us there as well. So Robert said, remember to smile when you get your award. I'm not getting one today. I'm just sitting in the crowd. But, it's his senior year. He does get an award, but also, the seniors, it's one of those things where they do all the baby pictures and everything. So on a slideshow and just kind of commemorate the year around ROTC. Being a senior now, his pictures are up there, and he's a little nervous about what pictures we gave him. So we're going to have some fun with that here today as well. So good morning, Robert. Good morning, Papa Mike, of course, and everybody catching us out there as well. Robert, Mike says, smile. Robert, come on. You're asking for way too much from Stephen. Yes, for those of you that have watched this program for a while, for those of you that are Facebook friends with me out there and things to that effect, yeah, you know how much crap I take from Mr. Dale Hellestrae for not smiling in pictures, and my kids are the same way and stuff like that. So it is funny. It is funny, guys. There will be no smiling today. I did tell him this morning because he had to get up into his Class A uniform and everything. Last time he has to wear it here, and he's not doing anything with the military after high school. He's going to go off to college and stuff, but it's his last time he gets to dress up in that uniform. So I was giving him a hard time today, and I said, be ready for pictures afterwards. Because, of course, his mom's going. She took the day off. She's going. His grandmother, his mom's going. My parents are going. So I was like, you better be ready for pictures. None of this nonsense with the pictures afterwards. So I had to have that talk with him yesterday afternoon and this morning. So those are the talks we have in my family. Better be ready for some pictures. It'll be an exciting day out there, but we appreciate you guys tuning in, of course, for the short show here as well. And it's funny, like I told you guys earlier, like we're doing a lot of testing on putting the show out, where we're putting it out at, stuff to that. Some of you, of course, have found it. Thank you very much for that. We're not advertising it because we're testing some stuff out. We learned something yesterday with the pit stop, folks, and this is why we're doing the testing before we do full out launches and stuff like that as well. Autumn chimes in. Wish I could go. I need pictures. Well, I'll share the pictures with you. Jeesh. You'll see the pictures, I'm sure. We found out some stuff, right? Like we're trying to figure out what we can post, what videos we can show, because there's a different rule between live and on demand. Like, for instance, on the pit stop last night, which is up this week. We did it on Tuesday instead of normal Wednesday here because of my day. So that's why we're doing all this testing. So yesterday, live, we got kind of yelled at, we'll put it that way, for one of the videos we posted yesterday on the pit stop. It shut down the feed for like 6 minutes, and then it came back up, of course. So we're that. But then when we went to put it up, because we're testing it. That's why I showed you the hockey video earlier this week, the Mason Miller video yesterday. I did all that. We're just testing what can be put up live, what'll take it down, what won't, etc. Well, in the pit stop, they just put up this big old black box that said, Copyright. It's like 6 minutes, and then the feed came back up again. The video wasn't 6 minutes. They just shut it down for that long, etc. That's the stuff we're testing here. So just a heads up here. If I throw something up there and the feed goes down for a few, just hang with it. It'll come back up. But we're just testing it. But then when we put the pit stop up on demand, none of those restrictions are there because there's different live rules compared to non-live rules. So we're just trying to learn the system and the algorithms, and it's a lot of fun here as well. And we appreciate you guys finding us there as well. Of course, follow us at TME Media AZ, folks. Kind of catch on to what we're talking about there as well. But, hey, Suns are out of it. They had their postseason press conferences yesterday. I heard a lot of Brooks conversation. I heard some Devin Booker yesterday. I did not get through all of those. There's some interesting stuff, right? This roster in the Suns is going to change over. We talked about it yesterday with Bruce Cooper and some other things like that and everything. But I did not get through it all. Relatively good comments. This roster is going to turn over. Brooks is going to be a part of the future. Devin Booker is going to be part of the future as well. Things to that effect. So, we'll pay attention to that here over the next couple of days as the Suns wrapped up. But we'll get you updated on the playoff bracket. Spurs won last night, closed out that series as well. Then we finally got the anti-tanking proposal from the NBA. It's confusing as all heck. I'll do my best to make it make sense out there. I read like 7 different news articles on it. ESPN, The Athletic, Sporting News, CBS Sports, Yahoo. Only one of them made sense to me. So I'll try to make sense of it for you today as well. Of course, NFL. Hey, I got next year's mock draft ready for you guys. No. First of all, Mel Kiper has his out yesterday and had no desire to watch it. I was more curious on what quarterbacks they have ranked high in this going into it. But while I'm doing that, well, The Athletic put out the round 2 and round 3 grades of the draft. Round 2, I'll just tell you they gave an A- for that pick. Baronis there. They gave him an A-. I was interested in the round 3 pick of Carson Beck because you guys know over the last couple of days I've been telling you my vision of Carson Beck. I'm not saying it's going to work out. Let's be clear about this. But I'm telling you what the Cardinals are going to do with Carson Beck. The Bo Nix model. They're going to throw him out there to the Wolves. He's got the pedigree. He's got the experience. He's got the throwing abilities. Not highly thought of. Similar college experience as Bo Nix as well. Right? Started in the SEC. Has won a lot there. Moved on to Oregon for Bo Nix. Started in the SEC at Georgia. Was back up there. Got beat out by Stetson Bennett. If I say his name right. Right? Ended up going to Miami after a couple championships down there as a backup. Similar college stuff there. So I'm interested in what people are saying about this pick. And I have the Athletics grade on 3 we'll talk about. What did the Steelers do yesterday? Did you see this Aaron Rodgers thing? We're going to talk about that as well. Never heard of this before. We're going to talk about that coming up as well. Obviously, I'll get you updated today on the NHL playoffs. You got some good games tonight. Some games that if you're a hockey fan or, right, you're tired of watching the Diamondbacks get blown out. and it happens again tonight, Erod's on the mound tonight. Tune over and watch some of these hockey games. You're going to have some fun, most likely, with a couple of these games tonight as well coming up there. Of course, Diamondbacks' big loss last night. Is it time to be concerned about Merrill Kelly? 2 starts in a row now, out of 3 to start the season. We'll talk about that. I said yesterday with Bruce Cooper, the next move the Diamondbacks should make, barring infield injuries or something to that effect, or playing injuries, they should start bringing up some of these young arms into the bullpen. Because you can bring them up, take them down, bring them up, send them down, bring them up, send them down as much as you want. It's time to start doing that. And it starts with Hoffman today, in my opinion. They used a lot of arms yesterday. I think you will see some roster moves today. Bring up some of these young guys out of the bullpen, or out of Reno, up into this bullpen here. We'll talk about that coming up as well here today. And Yahoo, their power rankings for Major League Baseball, Diamondbacks have made a significant jump. We'll talk about that here as well. We'll be here for at least an hour today, as I said. Got to cut the show a little bit short here so I can get back across town. And again, guys, I'm not even reading the comments right now, but I'll accept your awards for coming in and instead of just sitting at home today like most people would do and, taking my time eating breakfast, playing video games. No, I woke up and I came in for you there, for you guys. Oh, you guys want to give me flowers? Thank you. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. Somebody's going to take me serious on that as well. So as we move forward, you guys got a big old chat going there as well. Bo Nix did have a better coach at Oregon than Beck had anywhere. You think Bo Nix had a better coach there than he had at Georgia with Kirby Smart? Really? I think really highly of Kirby Smart, though. So that would be the only place I would question it. Cristobal at Miami, I'd agree with you on that. But at Georgia, are you sure? You might be right. I didn't put any thought into the coaching staff there. I tend to go towards Kirby Smart there at Georgia over Oregon as well. So that's what we deal with there. So interesting. Well, let's get into the into the NBA stuff here as well, because I'm going to confuse you as we start the show here. That's all I'm going to tell you. Let's get off and get confusing right now. Don't forget, text us 623-252-6670, X at TME Sports Show. Give us a follow there as well. Follow us at TME Media AZ on YouTube as well as TME Media on X, folks. It's important you follow the parent company for announcements and things to that effect around our shows and what's coming up, etc. But I digress here. Let's get into this confusion first. Let's start it off. Let's make our heads hurt early here. Some math might be involved. So I'm just warning you guys up front. Some math might be involved. The NBA is calling it the 3-2-1 lottery is what they're officially calling this. Yes, folks, a professional league worth billions of dollars has to come out with an anti-tanking measure. We talked about it several weeks ago. I brought up the fact that I noticed there's a winning culture in the NBA and there's a losing culture in the NBA. There is literally nothing in between. The guys in the play-in on East and the West, the guys that make the play-in game and above all want to win, and they're trying to win. Everybody that missed the play-in games want to lose. They want nothing to do with winning. They're all trying to tank. We pointed that out here 3 weeks ago, a month ago or so, that's what the NBA is facing. That's literally the league. Nine, maybe 10 teams that actually are trying to win. 4 or 5 teams that just have no desire to win. Not that they can't. Zero desire to win. They want to lose. So now a $1 billion sports entity has to come out with the anti-tanking measures. And they've had a bunch of plans out there they floated. And like I said, this 3-2-1 lottery system is what they have now settled on to stop the tank, if you'll call it that way. Okay. Here's how they're going to do it. They're going to expand the draft lottery now. Yeah. They're going to expand it. They're going to put more teams in the draft lottery. Because now if you make the play-in game, you're not in the draft lottery. But if you make the play-in game now, well, they want you in the draft lottery. is that supposed to incentivize a team that's in 13th place to win, to get to that 10th spot to get into the play-in because they'll still be in the lottery? Well, they're hoping that's going to happen is what they're doing. So basically, the draft lottery is expanding from 14 to 16 teams. Now they're going to go to the system of how many balls do you get in the system, right? You'll get either 1, 2, or 3 balls in the route. We're going to call them ping pong balls because I'm going to giggle this whole way if I keep saying balls because I'm 12. Just to warn you, I'm 12. They're going to significantly flatten the odds that you can win the number 1 draft pick as well. And if you land the number 1 draft pick, I'm sorry, not if you land it, but they're going to penalize teams with the worst records. The whole point of a draft is to make your worst teams better. And now they're saying, hey, if you have the worst record, we're going to penalize you and you're not going to get the number 1 pick and supposedly get better. The Dallas Mavericks would not have gotten the number 1 pick last year, by the way, in this new system. Just something I saw earlier. Also, so a lot of that stuff wouldn't have happened. And a lot of the players on teams wouldn't have gotten into those teams if we go by this. So here's where we go. Ready for this, folks? Buckle up. Put those seatbelts on. A lot of numbers coming your way. 8.1% chance at the top pick. I get this from Yahoo. They explained it the best because everybody else just made my head hurt to the point where I just crawled in bed in the fetal position last night. This is how complicated the NBA is. It's so ridiculous how complicated the NBA makes everything. You can have a mid-level exception. You can have a semi-mid-level exception. You can have a middle-level exception of a semi-mid-level exception that also affects the upper-level exception. But we call that the upper-level, middle, upper, middle, upper extension. And NBA is just ridiculous. So the teams with the 4th through the 10th worst records, so you had to have missed the play-in game here, you would each get 3 ping pong balls, giving them an 8.1% chance of winning the lottery. Before, you had a 14% chance to win the lottery in the current system. So it's going from 14% to 8.1 for 4th through 10th worst records. What you got? The teams with the 3 worst records out there. All teams who play in the 9 versus 10 play-in games, you're going to get 2 ping pong balls for a 5.4% chance to win. So if you finish 4th through 10th worst record, you get an 8.4% chance to win the top pick. If you finish 3 worst records, or you're in the 9th or 10th spot and you play in those games, in that play-in game, you get 2 ping pong balls. You get a 5.4% chance. So basically, your worst record teams aren't going to be the number 1 pick. Okay. Because they're tanking to get there. That's kind of what they're saying. The 2 losing teams in each 7 versus 8 play-in game would get just 1 ping pong ball. They'll have a 2.7% chance to win the lottery and get the number 1 pick. The winners of the 7-8 play-in would not be in the play-in. So basically, you get into the playoffs, 1 through 8 seed, no play-in lottery. You miss out, but in the play-in games, you get a chance at the number 1 pick, is what they're saying. But you're only getting 1 pick if you're in the 7 and 8. If you 9 and 10, if you're in the 9 and 10 spot after the play-in games, and you miss the playoffs, you only get 1 ping pong ball. Makes my head hurt. That's what they're doing, folks. Yeah. They're basically doing a relegation type of a system. They're not kicking you out of the league like the Premier League does. Like the bottom 3 teams every year get relegated down. The top 3 teams get relegated up into the Premier League, big money chain. They're not kicking you out of the NBA if you have the bottom 3 record. But they're doing it in terms of draft status out there is what they're doing as well. They say that this should incentivize non-playoff teams to stay competitive late in the season. Yeah. The NBA is penalizing. No other league does this. The NBA is penalizing the worst teams in the league. That's what they're doing. Everybody else rewards the worst teams in the league. The NBA is not going to penalize them moving forward, folks. Yeah. You also are now not able. You're not able to win the lottery in back-to-back seasons. No longer possible. You cannot go like who was that? The 76ers, I think it was. We had like 7 number 1 picks in a row. It feels like it was a lot, but it feels like you can't do that anymore. You cannot win the lottery 2 years in a row. So if you win it this year, can't win it next year, for instance, and stuff like that. Yeah. You also winning of a top. You cannot have a top 5 pick in 3 consecutive seasons either. You cannot do that. So if you're like the Jazz, where you just suck every year, best owner in sports, you suck every year. Well, you eventually can't have those top 5 picks anymore. They'll just rank you out, and you get something higher moving forward in 3 consecutive years. Is what they also implemented. I think that's more of the implementation than, doing the other stuff they're doing. I think is the bigger deal as well. So here's the problem. Like I said, San Antonio, they would not have been able to draft Victor Wembanyama. He was number 1 in 2023. Stephon Castle was number 4 in 2024. Dylan Harper was number 2 in 2025. They wouldn't have been able to draft all 3 of those guys with this proposal. Obviously, the Spurs wouldn't be what they are today without those 3 guys on that team as well. So, yeah. So this is going to pass. It has the support of the majority of teams, at least as of yesterday that I saw as well. They could do some minor modifications to it and everything like that. It's going to start with the 2027 NBA draft. So we got a year to go before it starts. All right. Did I make your head hurt with the math stuff here to start the show? My head's going to explode. Stupid. Penalize. First league to penalize the worst teams in the league. You need to incentivize the worst teams in the league to get better. I would have rather seen him do something like, you're dealing with big money, though. Incentivize them where, hey, if you get the number 1 pick, if you have the worst record in the league this year, next year, you finish in a play-in game scenario, you get X amount of bonus. Or you get this much relief from your payroll. Incentivize them that way to get better. And find a way to incentivize these teams to get better instead of punishing the bad teams out there. I just don't. It's just a ridiculous thing. I don't get it. It makes my head hurt. It does. So sorry to do that, but I wanted to get it away early. That's a big 4 league, folks. $1 billion entity has to have a "we don't want you to suck as bad as you do" law starting next year. It is a ridiculous notion. And that tells you the state of the NBA today, folks. It really does out there. The Suns, as I said, did a lot of multimedia stuff yesterday. I saw Dylan Brooks, saw a couple other players. I did not get to delve into them as much as I wanted to, so we'll take a look at those, see if anything's there. Dylan Brooks, he's going to be part of this team, loves this team, loves this city as well. It's interesting seeing his reaction to the way he's received here in the Valley. And the Valley, let's face it, the Valley likes guys like Dylan Brooks, the hardworking, put your nose down type of player. So it was fun to listen to him a little bit yesterday. But then we've got the playoff brackets out there. I know, Suns fans, sorry, got to do this to you again. Throw up that playoff bracket for me here as we wrap up the NBA talk here on this Wednesday, the shortened show here on Wednesday. The NBA playoff bracket is pretty simple. Spurs won that series yesterday over the Timberwolves last night as well. Let me pull it up on my computer since Kobe's having a problem throwing it up there for some reason. No big deal. So I got to cheat here. Oh, there we go. It was hard for me to cheat when I wasn't up there. Spurs over the Timberwolves, or over the Trailblazers yesterday, knocked them out of the series. Did you see Wemby's block at the end of the game, like over the backboard? And whew, man, to be that tall would be amazing. Timberwolves Nuggets, well, they're tomorrow here as well. Now, this is going to be interesting because Bruce brought it up yesterday. I do not give the Nuggets much of a chance to win 3 in a row. They're down 3-2 right now. I just don't. To win, 3 games in a row, but it'll essentially have to be. Obviously, 2 more. I just don't think they can do it. But then Anthony Edwards is going to be out in this series. The 0 for the Timberwolves, I just forgot his name. He's out for the series and for longer with his injury out there, Achilles tear. Timberwolves have 2 guys that are instrumental to their team. If somebody's going to come back and win this series down 3-2 right now, down 3-1 originally, it's going to be the Nuggets. Now I'm just going to sit back. I don't care who wins this series. I think the Spurs are going to win the next round. But this is going to be fascinating to see if the Nuggets can come back and win this series in 7. Something worth watching as well. Lakers-Rockets are tonight. I do think the Lakers will close out the Rockets tonight, especially, if they get their injured players back as well, at least one of their injured players back tonight. Lakers should close out the Rockets tonight and then, of course, face the Thunder. It doesn't matter who they play. The Thunder's winning that series. And I'm looking forward to the Western Conference Finals if it does become Thunder-Spurs. That's my dream scenario to watch there. Here's the other problem, though. Nuggets and Timberwolves. Both the Nuggets and the Timberwolves beat the Spurs overall in their series. Timberwolves, I believe, were 2-1 this year against the Spurs. The Nuggets were 3-1 against the Spurs this year, if I remember correctly. But they both have winning records during the Spurs. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy series for the Spurs to get past the Nuggets Timberwolves at all. I'm not saying that, but if that goes to 7 games, obviously the Spurs are going to be rested. And I expect a fresher team to advance at that point from that perspective as well. Over in the East, Detroit and Magic, man, I'm not sure Detroit's winning this series. Now, the Magic and Bruce Cooper brought this up yesterday. The Magic aren't your prototypical 8 seed. They're better than an 8 seed. They had a lot of injuries. They struggled. But they're up 3-1 over the Pistons. They play tonight. Can the Pistons stay alive tonight? Or do the Magic knock them off here as well? This is a bad matchup for the Pistons. The Pistons only won game 2 because they made a defensive change late in that game that worked out for them. Other than that, this series has been all Orlando Magic in my eyes. It'll be interesting to see, can the Pistons stay alive tonight, or do we see a monumental upset here, at least in terms of the rankings as well. Cavaliers-Raptors tonight as well. 2-2 series, Cavaliers-Raptors. I didn't give this series boring to me. Both of these teams are kind of boring to watch. Thought the Cavs would kind of blow them out. I'm surprised the Raptors are back into this. But I do expect the Cavaliers to pull ahead moving forward. And then you got, of course, Knicks and Hawks. They're tomorrow night here. I just want to see the chaos of the Knicks being in a long series here. Yeah, they're leading this series, of course, here. They can close out the Hawks, but at least they made it a series. And I don't think it matters. 76ers, though, Joel Embiid's back for the 76ers, if you didn't know that. And he was peak Joel Embiid last night as they come back and beat the Celtics. Celtics better close this series out quickly, because if Joel Embiid plays like he did last night, there is a monumental chance here. This could go a long series with the 76ers if Joel Embiid plays the way that he played last night as well in that series. So there you go, your NBA wrap-up here as well. We're just waiting to see some big games tonight you probably should pay attention to. But if you don't want to, well, you can tune over to the NHL here tonight as well. Fill out the NHL bracket for me as well. I'll get you updated on this tonight. Well, last night we got some overtime games happening right now. You've got some excitement. Boston holds on last night to beat Buffalo. So Boston stays alive in that series. It's a 3-2 series now. Minnesota does beat Dallas. I do think Minnesota Wild are winning this series, and I do think Colorado-Minnesota is going to be a massive round 2 series. It's going to be fun to watch that series. And Minnesota's up 3-2 after winning last night. Edmonton, Draisaitl showed up, folks. 3-2 Anaheim lead in that series. It's going to take another Herculean effort from a player there with Edmonton for them to come back and win this series. Is it possible? Absolutely. Draisaitl scored twice last night. Oilers stay alive. It's possible for Edmonton to come back and win this series. I'm not in no way saying they're done. It's going to be a fun series to watch there as well. That was all last night. Tonight, you got Montreal and Tampa Bay Lightning. 2-2 in this series. I've told you all along, Montreal is alive in this series. I ultimately, in my picks, decided Tampa Bay was going to win this series. But I've been telling you all along, Montreal is alive. They can win this series. It's a 2-2 series. Whoever wins tonight, I do believe wins this series. Montreal and Tampa tonight is going to be a fun one to watch. If you're early as well, it's 4 p.m. our time here on the West Coast. Pittsburgh, Philly. Look, I think this is a mismatch of a series. Pittsburgh didn't show up early. They won the last game, though, and that was a fun game to watch. They ended up winning it late. Pittsburgh did. It's 3-2 in this series. I do expect Philadelphia to close this series out. Tonight is that game. I think they'll do it. But judging off of last game, does Pittsburgh have more of a fight in them? Or is that just a one-game anti-elimination fight that they had there for the Penguins? That's tonight as well. 4:30 p.m. our time as well. Winner of that one goes off to play Carolina, who's just sitting at home, haven't had a test yet in the playoffs. I don't think Carolina's going to have a test in a Philly-Pittsburgh game either. Probably go 6 games maybe, but I don't think it's going to be this absolutely wild test here for Carolina coming up. But there you go. And then tonight, of course, the other big game out there in the West. Vegas Knights in Utah. If you're not watching this series, if you're a Coyotes fan, you should be watching this series because you see Smalls and all the guys from the Coyotes, the coaching, of course, the GM, all part of this Utah Mammoth team. Vegas Knights, I root for them, but this is a heck of a series regardless of the way you look at it. Veterans there on the Golden Knights as well. This is going to be a fantastic game tonight. Pay attention to this. If you just want a Diamondbacks for some reason, you get bored with that, slide over and watch this game. It's the late game tonight as well. 7 p.m. is the face-off here from Las Vegas. You'll enjoy this series. Whether you're a hockey fan or not a hockey fan, you'll enjoy this series here. Last game, the Knights came out in period 1 and dominated it. They were up 3-0 there early in the second. Utah Mammoths came back 4-4. It ended up going into overtime where the Knights ended up tying up the series at that time. You'll have fun with that game, folks. Tune into that tonight, 7 p.m. if you're interested. And just a fun little series there as well coming up. So there's your NHL update as well here as we are talking, just getting things wrapped up here in our roughly hour-long show as well. Let's go to the comments here and check the text line. And somebody texted in and said, quit being negative on the Mammoth. I try to read it with some gusto there. Well, best owner in sports. Only half the arena can see him. Whatever. I like the players on Mammoth. I'm just not going to root for them up there. Ordinarily, I could root for a Salt Lake City team. I love Salt Lake City and the mountains up there. If I had to move, that would be a place that'd be one of the places I'd say I'm moving there. Moving there. But I just can't get behind their team right now. I just can't. Partly because also I had my secondary team in the Knights from family ties in Las Vegas and things to that effect. We've talked about that 1,000 times here on the show, and we don't need to rehash that as well out there from that side. Robert says his QB coach, meaning Bo Nix at Oregon, was Dillingham. Oh, you were talking about the quarterback coach instead of the head. I was thinking head coaches there. For Oregon, and, of course, anything better than Beck had as well from that. So Papa Mike says, I'm okay with Beck as an experiment for now. You never know. He may surprise everyone in a year or so. And that's all my point is in the way that I see them using Beck. You know what Jacoby Brissett is. Jacoby Brissett is a serviceable quarterback. He'll move the ball up and down the field. He'll score some points. But a game comes down to it, you're not winning a game late, most likely with him out there. He'll win some games. Not going to put you over the top. Gardner Minshew's the same boat. He'll win you some games. He'll move the ball up and down the court. The offense will move, but you're not winning a bunch of games with them as quarterbacks. You know who they are. I like both of them as quarterbacks. I have zero issues with either one of them as quarterbacks starting for this Cardinals team this year while you're looking for a second one. Again, go back and watch the main event episode where we played and we talked about the press conference, the pre-draft one. Monty Ossenfort said 3 things. We want to, if a quarterback comes in and he played for a big school, he played in big moments. He listed all these characteristics, and we all tied it to Ty Simpson. Carson Beck has the same characteristics. If you're going into this season and you know you're not going to win a lot of games, do the Bo Nix deal. Take that chance. The difference between the Broncos blueprint and the Cardinals blueprint, if they go that route, they have similar college experiences, folks. But if you go to the differences, the Denver Broncos have one, if not the best defense in the league, definitely top 3 or 4. Cardinals do not. that's a major difference with that blueprint that we got right now as well. So everybody's commenting that the teacher is here today. Autumn took the day off. She's got some stuff to do. So I guess she took the day off of work. So, yeah. So, Papa Mike, she did not help me with that NBA math at all with that tanking policy, just so you know. Yeah. Even mathematicians are confused on what's happening as well. So, yeah. Papa Mike does say, I get that they want to stop teams from tanking, but there has to be a better way. Right? Right? How about a less confusing way? Make it simple for people to understand out there. Yeah. And he also says, can't win the lottery 2 years in a row now. Now they're just trying to convince us that it isn't rigged. Oh, no. The NBA draft is rigged. Forget about the olden days with Patrick Ewing and the cold envelope and all those rumors. Forget about those rumors. You want to go to present day? The Mavericks had, what, a 14, 15, 16% chance to get the number one pick last year? And they get it with the young stud generational changing player and Cooper Flagg sitting there to be drafted. Yeah, tell me it's not rigged. I jokingly joke around about conspiracy theories and stuff like that, folks. That is one that I can firmly get behind. The NBA, call it rigged, call it what you want. The NBA does suspect things with their draft lottery. Period. End of story. Period. End of story. Look at last year. The payback to the Mavericks for trading Luka to the Lakers and making the Lakers good again was simply, you'll get the number one pick this year. Conspiracy Steve just showed up, folks. 100% it did. Let's take a break here real quick. We'll come back, talk some NFL, and then, unfortunately, we got to talk some Diamondbacks. Short show today, folks. We'll be out of here just around 9 o'clock, maybe a little bit later, but I got to get across town. Be back tomorrow. Everything back to normal tomorrow. I appreciate you guys adjusting here with the stuff we got going on here today. But, hey, let's come on back. Wrap it up strong. Come on back. The main event. And we're back here, main event. I'm your humble host, Stephen McCollum. Dale Hellestrae is scheduled to come back tomorrow after his 1980s graduation. We'll call it reunion here with some of the boys. They go to Palm Springs, spend a few days golfing and having a good time there as well. I saw the pictures, man. They look like they were having a blast. For a bunch of old guys. He's going to kill me for saying that. But he'll be back tomorrow for his normal come in here before he goes off and hits his 98 KUPD hit there with John Holmberg and the boys. And, of course, Uncle Lou comes in tomorrow as well. We're going to wrap up here just around 9 o'clock as well. As I said earlier, I got to chat about across town. It's going to take me about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour to get over there to Queen Creek High School. So we're just going to, relax, end the show a little bit early today. And appreciate you guys joining me, man. I wanted to come in and get it done. I was just going to sit at home otherwise, so it's up there as well. And don't forget, Pit Stop, it is up early this week. We did it yesterday just simply because of today's schedule. Did it yesterday. It's up for you. Robat TV, of course. The YouTube, TME Media AZ, folks, you're going to want to follow that. Live stuff going on, live stuff coming up. We're doing a lot of testing around it as well. Check that out. And then, of course, Rumble, rumble.com/user/TME Media. I got to keep putting that out there because Rumble and its search system, well, according to them, it takes a little while for the search system to come up as well out there. And Ethan just chimed in and said, "No classwork for me." He's getting ready for the awards ceremony here today. So he says he's supporting his dad. Well, you better be, because I'm coming to support you later. Tit for tat, kiddo. Just kidding. I'm driving 45 minutes across town for you. Let's get into some NFL stuff here and wrap this up strong before. Unfortunately, we got to talk Diamondbacks coming up as well. As I said, jokingly, we're going to break down I'm joking about this. I'm just going to tell you up front. But we're going to break down the Mel Kiper draft for next year. That's what we're going to do right now. Early 2027 NFL mock draft. Mel Kiper. Dane Brugler also put one out as well. And look at the Dane Brugler one right now. Here's who they have as your number one pick. I'll just tell you right now, the number one pick off the board, everybody's going to have them there, and that's Arch Manning. I am not a fan of Arch Manning. At least last year, Arch Manning, I saw a lot of flaws in his game. Doesn't mean he can't improve, but Arch Manning's going to be drafted high because of his namesake. And that worries me a little bit. We need to see improvement. He had 4 turnovers in the spring game for Texas, was that a week or so ago? But every draft is going to have Arch Manning number one. Here's the thing you need to pay attention to, Arizona Cardinals fans. They have the Arizona Cardinals making that number one draft pick this year. And they say it's going to be Arch Manning. Sitting here right now in this seat, today, April 29th, 2026. That pick makes me want to throw up. It doesn't mean Arch Manning's not going to improve this year and be better than he was last year. Doesn't mean that. But there's 2 sicknesses here. Arch Manning, as he is playing right now, not interested. But then the other sickness is they have the Cardinals picking number one. If that's the case where the Cardinals are going to be picking number one and the NFL season's going to go sideways for them, that means they're going to win 1 game at most, maybe 2. To get that number one pick. Why aren't you throwing Carson Beck out there this year to see what he can do? Why aren't you doing the blueprint of the Denver Broncos and putting him out there to see what he can do? If that's the expectation of your Arizona Cardinals this year is to have the number one pick next year and draft Arch Manning, we better see Carson Beck out there a lot this year. That's the summary on the mock draft that I wanted to bring up to you. Just solidifies. We don't need to see Jacoby Brissett out there. We don't need to see Gardner Minshew out there. We don't. If the expectation is you're going to be so bad, you're going to have the number one pick next year, be so bad with the kid and see what he can do. Period. End of story. Arch Manning. Yikes. Oof. So anyway, that's what the mock drafts have out there. But this year's draft, we talked about it with Bruce Cooper. We did the draft show live. I can't thank you guys enough that tuned into that. And even then, a lot of people watching it after the fact as well. So we appreciate that on YouTube, Rumble, of course, the podcast systems and everything. I appreciate everybody tuning in to that as well and just seeing Bruce's reaction to the Jeremiah Love pick, right? But the big controversy around it is that round 3 pick in Carson Beck. The Athletic did grades on their second and third round picks for every team. Second round, they had an A- for Basonis there. I think that's the name. Yeah. But they did an A- for him in that pick. I was more curious about the round 3 Carson Beck pick. I like Carson Beck. I want to see what he can do. I want him in the starting lineup this year. I've been vocal about that since Monday. But I also don't think they should have taken him for the number 3 pick. They lost value by doing so. They could have drafted somebody. Also, drafting him in the third round, first pick, also tells me the Cardinals think he's going to get a chance to play this year. because you could have waited to draft him. And you lost some value there, meaning you could have gotten a player that could have helped you this year if on that third-round pick. And they elected to punt on that. They could have got an edge rusher, something to that effect that could come in and help you out throughout the season. They punted on that, and they went with a quarterback, where a lot of people assumed project in the future. I think in the round 3 pick there, they went Carson Beck in pick number 65 because they like the way he plays, and they want to give him a shot and an opportunity to see what he can do. That's just my opinion on it. That's what I would do if I was the Cardinals, and I'm just floating that way. The Athletic did grades here on round 3 picks. Carson Beck, Arizona Cardinals, QB, Miami. The Cardinals needed a quarterback is what they write, and Beck was the most experienced one left on the board. He'll compete to be the starter at some point this season. Beck answered some questions after recovering from the elbow surgery and guided the Hurricanes to the College Football Playoff Championship game last year. That's what the Athletic put out there. Even the Athletic saying he will compete to be the starter at some point this season. That competition started. Why also did Jacoby Brissett say you should pay me as their starter? Jacoby Brissett's not stupid. Why is that? Why is an easy, what should be an easy move here to give Brissett more incentives and things to that effect to get his pay up? Why is that taking so long to get done? Because the Cardinals don't want to give him bigger money up front. They want to do more incentive-based because they think Carson Beck's going to be starting at some point this year, in my opinion. The Athletic has round 3 Carson Beck pick here for the Cardinals in A-. Just telling you. It's easy to sit back and poo-poo the Carson Beck pick. Look at the signs, though, folks. Round 3 when you could have drafted somebody else and gotten him later, probably. Pay attention to the signs. The pre-draft press conference. The number 3 pick when you could have gotten somebody to help you out on this team in a position you need help with. All signs. The delayed interaction here and signing of Brissett to get him back into camp and pay him a little bit more. Delayed signing. And they're having good conversations, according to Monty. Put them all together. Carson Beck's going to be given the opportunity to run this team this year. There's no other way to say it, folks. There's no other way to tell you and convince you. You're either on board with this by looking at the signs, or you're just going to be, just fight the obvious thing in front of you. I'm not going to fight it. I'm going to roll with it. Carson Beck, your starter for the 2026 Arizona Cardinals. If Jacoby Brissett contract talks come out where it's all incentive-based, it's even more pointing towards Carson Beck getting the starting role at some point. Because obviously, if you don't hit certain extent, certain goals, you're not going to get baited. So the Cardinals are like, well, if you play a lot, we'll get there, but you ain't playing a lot, so we don't have to pay you this. Another thing to pay attention to as well. Really quick on the NFL, just to wrap this up, get to the Diamondbacks here. It's a shortened show today, as you guys know. I've said it multiple times. I hate to repeat myself. I'm just letting people know because I do see on Robat TV, of course, TME Media AZ as well for that YouTube page. I do see people joining us here that weren't on before, at least numbers. I don't get to see who it is, but I do see the numbers, on there and stuff. And shortened show today. It's fine. Nothing's wrong. I just have to get across town here for an award ceremony at Queen Creek High School. So I'm going to head over there afterwards. It's going to take me about 45 minutes, 50 minutes to get down there. Got to beat the crowds. That school's landlocked. Hard to park there. I meet my parents. Get up with them. All that stuff out there. Well, Mike does say, ooh, number one draft pick next season is not good. Right? We're not talking about that mock draft from ESPN that has the Cardinals taking Arch Manning as the number 1 pick. He says, that's just wrong. Hopefully it doesn't happen. I'll go a step farther here. I don't think the Cardinals will have the number one pick if Carson Beck starts this year for a long several games. I'll put that bold prediction out here on April 29th as well. I'm not saying Carson Beck's going to come in and be an all-star. I'm not saying Carson. I equated Carson Beck before the draft as basically a Jacoby Brissett type player. He'll get his opportunity to start. He'll win you some games. I don't think he's going to take you to a Super Bowl. I don't think he's going to get you over that hump at all. All Lodge Brissett. He's going to have a long career in the league as a backup and with opportunities to play. He's going to move around a lot. Stuff to that effect. He's going to come in here and win some games, and he's going to come in and do some stuff. Other thing, just really quick here in terms of the NFL, what is this that the Steelers are doing? When I saw this yesterday, my initial reaction was the final caveat in this deal. Have you guys ever heard of this? The Steelers placed the right of first refusal tender on Aaron Rodgers yesterday. I'm sorry, what? What in the world is that? It's a tag that is rarely used. I've never heard of it before. I was actually watching some ESPN stuff and some national stuff. They were even like, what? Never heard of this thing. Basically, the Steelers can match any offer that Aaron Rodgers receives this offseason. He's guaranteed a percentage increase over his last year's salary. It's like 10% or something to that effect. He doesn't have to report until training camp. So right before training camp. Those are the two deals. When I saw that second part of the deal, my initial reaction in my brain was, all right, they made a deal with Aaron Rodgers that he's coming back, and he's not going to come back until training camp. You're not going to see him until training camp. That was my initial thought of what that paragraph meant. I've seen people from all gamuts say other things on that. Basically, I heard people on ESPN radio this morning driving into work on the national ESPN saying they were thinking they don't think he's coming back to the Steelers, that he could go to another team. He wants to play this out, see if there's a quarterback injury someplace or anything, and he could sign with them. I heard that theory out there on that. What is happening with? Why are teams waiting for Aaron Rodgers? Why are the Steelers doing this for Aaron Rodgers? Not good. So it's a one-year deal worth about $15 million with this tag that they did for Aaron Rodgers going into next year. So if another team comes in, offers him more money, Steelers would have 5 days to match that offer to bring Aaron Rodgers back to the Steelers as well. Yeah. So I don't know what to believe on this because I'm hearing it across. Like I said, my first initial reaction was they have a deal with them, but he wanted more money maybe, so they threw this deal on there to lock him in at that amount, and then he doesn't have to come until training camp. So if he does not sign with another team by July 22nd, which is basically the Steelers' first day of training camp, he would be eligible to negotiate a deal with the Steelers moving forward. They do say, some of the articles, I think Yahoo it was, maybe it was CBS Sports, said this could put pressure on Aaron Rodgers to make a decision earlier to come back to the Steelers. Here's my bigger question on Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. There's rare tags out there now, etc. Why are you putting up with this? Move on with your life, and if Aaron Rodgers comes back, take him or don't. You don't have to sign him. Well, you didn't until now with the tag. Just go on with your life. Assume Aaron Rodgers isn't coming back. If Aaron Rodgers calls you in July or August and says, I want to play for you, then you have a decision. Do you want him back or not? Why are the Steelers doing this with Aaron Rodgers? Is he worth all this headache? They obviously think he is. I do not. Especially with new coaching staff in there, Mike McCarthy and stuff like that. He knows the Mike McCarthy system. Not going to be that big of a curve. Robert does say, given the way the mock drafts were last year at this time, Arch may be the 10th pick. he might not even be a first rounder, Robert, the way they were last year. I got Mel Kiper's 20 26 way too early draft. Remember me and Dale were talking about that? I haven't. I got to sit down and go through it. I'm kind of waiting for Dale to come back as well. Compared to the draft picks this year, it's all up and down, man. The guys they had in the top 10 last year, a lot of them didn't even get drafted. One of them just signed a 3-year deal with the Ravens as an undrafted free agent. Afia. It's an amazing thing to watch here as well. So we'll talk about that. I don't get the wait. I don't get the headache of Aaron Rodgers. I don't get waiting for him, especially with the new coaching staff. Just move on with your life. Plan on him not being there. If he isn't committed to you, this goes for life too, folks. Whether you're dating somebody, you're waiting for a job, you're anything to that effect, you move on with your life. And then if that job or that boy or girl calls you eventually and says you're in there, then you've moved on and you have a decision to make if you want to accept them into your life or not. But don't sit around and wait and beg and beg and beg and beg. God, Aaron Rodgers drives me nuts. Hey, we'll wrap up the show with this short show today. If you don't know, if you haven't heard it yet, I see we've had some more people join us here as it's gone on. No short show today. I've got some personal stuff I got to go run over to do here and, support Ethan out there as well as he graduates here this year. But then we'll be back tomorrow, regular shows tomorrow, Uncle Lou coming in, etc. If you didn't see the Bruce Cooper segment yesterday, you're going to want to check that out. Talk Suns. He was way disappointed with Jordan not in the Suns yesterday. And, of course, NFL Draft Talk, Diamondbacks. And Diamondbacks last night go to Milwaukee after that Mexico City trip, I should say. Lost 13-2 last night. Blowout City. I was running some. I went to dinner. Forgot the game was on. Turned the game on, and all I hear is from the radio broadcast of the Diamondbacks. Well, now that this game's out of hand, they're going to start throwing this stuff at it, meaning pitchers. And I didn't even know the score yet. And I go, well, this went out of hand quickly, and it was early too. It wasn't like it was late. It was the first few innings. And I was like, oh, it's already out of hand. Perfect. Merrill Kelly got hurt in the preseason, went on the IL, came back late. First game was good. Had a good first game pitching. We expect him to have a good first game pitching. Second start, though, not good. Last outing was bad. Comes back yesterday, third outing, I guess, total. Second bad outing for him in a row. Merrill Kelly. And it's 13-2 loss. 5 innings pitched, gave up 5 earned runs, 6 hits, 5 walks, 1 strikeout, and, of course, the 1 home run. He's got a 9.20 ERA right now. Merrill Kelly. Your workhorse pitcher that you were counting on at that point. We basically, I'll put it this way. We basically replaced Fott in the starting lineup with Brandon Fott in the starting lineup. Merrill Kelly in these last 2 outings just hasn't been Merrill Kelly. Coming back from injury, first game back, adrenaline's going. He has a good outing. Struggles these last 2. Something that you should be concerned about with Merrill Kelly. Do you expect him to turn around? You do. Here's the other side of it, though. Yesterday when Bruce Cooper was here, I said the Diamondbacks need to start looking at bringing up some of these young arms in Reno or the Sod Poodles, whichever one, and bringing them up into this bullpen for arms. You know, they DFA'd a reliever, I forget who it was, earlier this year already. Why is Hoffman still pitching for this team? Why? He shouldn't be given these opportunities. 8 earned runs yesterday. No, not all his fault. Third of an inning. He's had several bad outings. 8.49 ERA. As a reliever, a starter can have a 9 ERA with a couple bad outings. A reliever cannot have a 8.49 ERA, folks. When you're pitching an inning at a time, it's never coming down. You will, I believe you will see. I saw, my favorite stuff. Sports Illustrated on D-backs. Jack Summers and his that group, not his group, but that group. They're my favorite baseball follow. They're my favorite baseball read. I saw them saying they expect to see some roster moves today to help out that bullpen. I expect you're going to as well. You know, McCann came into the game again last night. His ERA is all the way down to a 15, folks. This is 3 games now you've had to have your catcher go out and pitch to wrap up a game. It's not good in this day and age. You need arms in this bullpen. Everybody else was good. Thompson, Clark, McCann was even good. Now his ERA is down to 15. He's getting it respectable. He got lit up that first one. What do you have, a 45 ERA or something like that? 60 ERA, something ridiculous like that? Start bringing up some of these arms from the minor leagues. I believe that starts today. Oh, I can't remember his name. I had it this morning. I was like, oh, I'll remember his name. I was thinking about it. The kid you got in the trade down there in Reno, hurling the ball like crazy. Give these little kids get these young kids up here, get a taste of the big leagues in these games. Can't be any worse than Hoffman is out there, can he? Game 2 today. Brewers are favored in this game tonight. 4:40 p.m. first pitch, and then we got nothing but early day games for the Diamondbacks after today. Tomorrow's an early day game there in Milwaukee. Then they go to the Cubs, all 3 day games for the Cubs, early day games for the Cubs. So we got day games coming up for the Diamondbacks. 4:40 p.m. today. Erod. Brendan Sprout, I believe, is his name for Milwaukee. Milwaukee's favored in this game today, folks. Erod needs to come out, and Erod needs to do what he does, get the Diamondbacks into the win here today so they can go and possibly win the series tomorrow again and keep that streak going. Because, look, they're getting blown out at times, but they've won every series except for 2. Except for 3. They lost to the White Sox. They lost to the Dodgers to begin the season. And now then they tied the Padres there in Mexico City. You can keep getting blown out 13-2, but me and Bruce Cooper talked about it yesterday. If you didn't hear that segment, it's up in the interview section at Rumble on the podcast as well as on YouTube as well. We talked about it. The starting pitching on the Diamondbacks is starting to waver a little bit. Giving up a lot of stuff early in a game. Getting hit hard, giving up a lot of runs early in this game. Now the Brewers only scored 1 run in the first 2 innings. 4th and 5th, they scored 2 runs in the 4th, 2 runs in the 5th, and then, of course, Hoffman came in, they gave up the 8 at that point. The starting pitching is starting to falter a little bit. I'd start getting these bullpen arms ready for some stuff. Brennan fought, right? He came in for a long relief, 4 earned runs. I think it was Saturday, if I remember correctly. You need these guys to come up here, get a taste of it. Young guys come out here, do what they do. And if just up, down, send them up, down. Get this bullpen in line here because your starting pitching is starting to worry me a little bit if you're the Diamondbacks. They come up 4:40 today. Let's see what happens today. They're in Milwaukee. Diamondbacks should win this game tonight. Get the right lineup in there. Perdomo's ankle says it's feeling a lot better. So when will we see him back in the lineup? I didn't see anything on ADC yesterday. Del Castillo, obviously his finger issue on that Sunday game. I didn't see anything on him. Was in the game yesterday as well. DH there. 2 at-bats there. But, is that a lingering effect from him? Or are we going to see him play a lot more out there? Is there, yesterday was a test and he comes back today. So it's something to watch for him as well out there. But, Perdomo, obviously we're looking at. And then obviously Gurriel Jr. He's up to batting 107 right now. He was under 1 before. He's had a terrible start to the season. Here's what worries me. Merrill Kelly comes off the injured list, pitches well, 2 bad starts. Gurriel Jr. comes off the injured list, not hitting very well to start the season as well. Is this a pattern of guys coming off the IL, not prepared to play in this game and struggling when they get out there? Something I'm watching, folks, as we keep going forward as well. Let's go Erod today and get it going. Really quick, Yahoo We pay attention to power polls. I hate power polls. I hate them all together. We pay attention to them, though, just because they give us the national perspective of the local teams. And we'll wrap up with this here as well. We know we live in this bubble. We know what the Diamondbacks are. We judge them usually better than they are, sometimes worse than they are. But Yahoo, go with their latest power rankings that came out late last night, early this morning. They have the Diamondbacks as the 10th team here in the power rankings. People nationally are starting to notice the Diamondbacks playing well this season with their hard schedule. With their schedule against every team they have faced is potential of playoff teams except for one, and that's the White Sox. They lost that series. Going into May here, starting Friday? The national media, they have 10th for the Arizona Diamondbacks right now in the power rankings. They're starting to pay attention to the way your Diamondbacks are playing. They're 15-13 on the season. They're paying attention to them. They're noticing the way they're winning right now, winning these series with this 15-13 record here early in the season. The schedule's lightening up here, guys, coming up. The national people are paying attention to them. I just wanted to, it's not all doom and gloom. We hope, right? It's not all doom and gloom out there. Don't forget, hey, we're going to wrap up the show here on this Wednesday. We'll be back tomorrow, regular programming as well. I appreciate you guys coming and joining me here for the short show. I appreciate it very much as well. But look, folks, text us 623-252-6670, however you're watching us. Share TME Media AZ, both on X as well as YouTube. Share us, subscribe, share us with your friends out there. Let them see the program that we have out there. And if you go to Rumble, for those of you that don't like YouTube, we're actually shockingly having, I'm surprised by this, to be honest with you. We're having more success over at Rumble than we do at YouTube, actually. But also, we got the full episodes of The Real Matrix over on Rumble as well. Rumble.com/user/TME Media. Like, subscribe them, gets us out there into the world so other people can find us. And, of course, here at Robat TV as well, folks. We appreciate you guys joining us as well with all the Park University sports there that are fun to watch and everything. Well, I appreciate you joining me here. I'll be back tomorrow. Short show. I don't know what to do with myself now. I'm just going to wander around aimlessly for the next. Well, I'm going to drive for 45, 50 minutes first. And then I'm just going to wander around aimlessly. Done with work early today. Pit Stop's up, too. Don't forget about that on all your favorite platforms. Just also your favorite podcast system as well for that, folks. We'll see you tomorrow morning. McCollum on Business at 7. The main event, 8 to 10. Dale Hellestrae should be back tomorrow. He makes it back into town all right. Feeling well after just so much fun and excitement. You know, at his age, it might get a little tuckered out with how much fun he just had. Golfing. Uncle Lou tomorrow as well. See you then, folks. Have a great one.